Every story appears ordinary until you see the core side of it.
And what you're looking for is the story behind the news.
We bring it to you from Lagos, the commercial capital of Nigeria.
Giving you all sides on political stories round the clock.
Every detail from the start line to the final whistle.
CoreTV News, expanding your view.
A very good evening to you. Welcome to CoreTV Primetime News, broadcasting live from our Lagos studio. My name is Sarah Ayuku. Our top stories for tonight. We start off in Rivers State, where Vice President Yemi Osinbajo today flagged off the cleanup of Ogoni land with the unveiling of the plaque. The Vice President, who represented President Muhammadu Buhari at the historic event, says the cleanup is not just a restoration of the environment, but that of families, the people's wealth, health, and everything that is good about the land. On her part, the Minister for the Environment, Amina Mohammed, calls for the people's support for the exercise, adding that the cleanup is a collective responsibility of all. The current administration had initiated the process of cleaning up Ogoni land as recommended in the United Nations Environment Programme report. According to the report, there are over 200 oil-impacted locations, and the full environmental restoration of the community is expected to take between 25 to 30 years. The federal government is calling on the Trade Union Congress to synergize with the present administration in tackling corruption in all ramifications. This is President Muhammadu Buhari's message to the 10th Triennial National Delegate Conference holding in Abuja. It says there is the need for all players within the industrial relations space to play the rules. Our correspondent Kike Lomo Okere tells us more.
President Buhari, represented by the Minister of Labour and Employment, reiterates the commitment of the present administration to ensure possible efforts to ameliorate the present economic crunch in the country. The palliative contained in the 2016 budget will be implemented with sense of responsibility and patriotism. The message reads:
The sacrifices we are called to make at this point in our national life are needful sacrifices that we must use, that we will put into play in order to correct the misrule of the last administration.
President Trade Union Congress and President National Labour Congress appeal to the federal government and the militants in the Niger Delta to embrace dialogue and also check vandalism and other avenues through which the nation's commonwealth is being siphoned. They are pledging the commitment of the union to work with the present administration to create and ensure job opportunity.
To build a better Nigeria, we in TUC shall move from just being spectators in the Nigerian economy to becoming investors in the Nigerian economy. We can no longer afford to sit on the sidelines and watch helplessly for others to decide our future and the future of our families.
Lack of unity, the outcome will be consequential. But the price of this unity, I think also we know all of it. It reminds us that even as far back as 18th century, there is nothing a worker have gotten under the earth that is not without struggle.
The union is calling on the federal government to resolve the issue of 56,000 naira increments for workers' salary.
We need that palliative, and I hope that for the first time, the entire sector will come solidly to stand together to pursue this common objective that Nigerian workers need a living wage.
The theme of the conference, Labour and National Reorientation, the change we want, is aimed at reflecting on the present economic situation and reposition the country to rank among the best. Kike Lomo Okere, CoreTV News, Abuja.
And President of the Nigeria Labour Congress, Ayuba Waba, is warning the federal government that it must move away from the neoliberal policies of the International Monetary Fund and the World Bank if the nation's economy must survive its ongoing plunge. Speaking at the National Governing Council meeting of the Amalgamated Union of Public Corporations, Recreation and Technical Employees, Comrade Ayuba Waba also challenges the members of all labor unions to rise up and prevent all measures aimed at weakening the rights of workers in the country. Our correspondent Kozim Kasali tells us more.
With the recent experience of the Nigerian Labour Congress in its quest to stop the continued pauperization of the Nigerian people and the success of the federal government at state level to reduce the effectiveness of the strike called to fight the new prompt price of the premium motor spirit, President of the union says members of all labor unions must fight to protect workers' rights. He discloses that protecting workers' rights is an extension of ensuring that Nigerians are protected from the neoliberal and insensitive economic policies of the federal government.
Arose because of the fact that our prescription had been very wrong. We need to get an economic team that will think out of the box and think nationally, look at our national interests outside the interests of these two institutions.
President of the Amalgamated Union of Public Corporation Technical and Recreation Employees discloses the readiness of the union to always stand firm in the defense of the rights of its members, which to him is sacrosanct. He also expresses his surprise at the failure of some states to pay salaries despite the bailout by the federal government, urging that this should be investigated by all anti-corruption agencies.
This union will continue to adopt every legitimate means to engage the government at all levels to do the needful in the interest of industrial peace and harmony in the country.
A former General Secretary of the Union and also former Vice President of the Nigerian Labour Congress, Sylvester Ejiofor, however, states that the nation has lost all its ability to plan, and going back to plan and reverting to planning that will put the people of Nigeria at its zenith is the way to revive the nation's economy.
Our democracy is not anchored on strong institutions, parties. They are not. What you have are merely election platforms.
The members of the union later took in a lecture on the rights of workers in a democratic dispensation, with the lecturer positing that workers' rights is not better now than it was during the military era. Kozim Kasali, CoreTV News, Abuja.
And this may not be the best times for Nigeria farmers, as another pest attack on Nigeria maize could lead to scarcity of the staple grain. The Minister of Agriculture, Audu Ogbe, disclosed this while briefing newsmen in Abuja. It says this pest attack is noticed in the southwest and Edo State, adding that the government is doing its best to stop the spread of this pest in the country, as the country is already witnessing shortage of cereals in the market.
The minister noted that the farmers should ensure that pest attack on maize do not spread to other neighboring states, emphasizing that scientists are out there to ensure that biosafety measures are taken to curb the spread.
We are also working hard on this thing. We heard from the Ministry of Science and Tech that they have a solution. We appreciate their concern. We have checked. What they have may not be enough to cover the 1,000 hectares.
The minister says 10 states, including the Federal Capital Territory, has indicated interest in starting the grazing reserve. The states on the list include Jigawa, Plateau, Kaduna, Kano, Gombe, Sokoto, Katsina, Taraba, Niger, Adamawa, and the Federal Capital Territory. According to the minister, the grazing reserve will provide ample opportunity for the farmers to train their children in serene atmosphere and provide maximum security to prevent cattle rustling. The grazing reserve will help to address the clashes between the herdsmen and the farmers and also provide additional value to the dairy industry. Bukola Afeni, CoreTV News, Abuja.
Plateau State government has signed a memorandum of understanding with a private firm on the production of fertilizers for its farmers. The move comes highly recommended because the farmers have cried over the years that they cannot have high crop production yields without adequate supply of fertilizers. Our correspondent tells us more.
The public-private sector partnership adopted by Plateau State to assist its farmers with fertilizers has been described as a move in the right direction. The contractor wishes to revamp an abandoned fertilizer production plant in Bokos local government area, says tons of fertilizers will be churned out within the next few months.
Our partners were very optimistic that within the next 2 to 3 months at the most we should have fertilizer coming out of that facility.
The State Commissioner of Commerce and Industries says the people should remain at peace for more industries to spring up in the state.
Especially for giving us a gift of peace. Had it been there is no peace, we wouldn't have been here today to witness the signing of the MOU between the Plateau State government and the Jefta Group.
While reacting to the newly signed MOU and the abandoned fertilizer plant, the State House Committee Chairman on Agriculture declares that other parts of the state will soon have their own fertilizer producing plants. The State Attorney General pleads with the farmers to believe in the efforts being made to assist them.
Apart from that of Bokos, we still have 1 or 2 other ones in the other part of this state. We have one in Forum, and by the grace of God, in the near future, we're going to have one in the southern part too.
I want to stand here to say that indeed there was, test production there. Over 9 trailers of fertilizer had been produced in that very plant.
According to the Commissioner of Agriculture, a lot is being done to make agriculture the mainstay of the state's economy by making life very comfortable for the farmers.
Done something about tractorization, and then we are bringing schemes that will give credit facility to the farmers. Then it means all is set for the farmer to do the best he can to improve his standard of living.
Agricultural sector got less than 3% allocation of Plateau State's recently signed 2016 budget, which makes the citizenry doubt the plans of the state government in revamping agriculture.
Lead poisoning is not just another killer, but Nigeria and indeed Niger State has lost especially children who were last year poisoned from contact with lead. The urgent need for remediation of lead poison in Shikara community in Niger State is a motion co-sponsored by all the senators to underscore its importance. They say they are aware the preliminary remediation plan and budget have been developed by experts and awaiting funding by the federal government. Here's a report on that proceeding.
By whatever name you call it, unemployment means seeking for where a daily bread can come from. Some of this means, though, could be dangerous. Illegal mining has caused many deaths due to lead poisoning. The country has suffered losses through lead poisonings in Zamfara, Jigawa, and most recently in Niger State. The Senate at plenary is beginning to show concern through a motion that was co-signed by the entire members of the Senate.
This is a community that is already living below poverty line. All the children there are in fact infected by this epidemic.
The Senate observed that the complete environmental testing of residential buildings during a survey indicates severe contamination of the environment, but it seems obvious that less attention is being paid to its devastating effects.
It is disheartening to see how we pay lip service and turn the other side, and the activities of illegal miners continue to pose a serious health challenge to our country.
Is Nigeria doing much to curb illegal mining? These questions solicited answers from members who feel that the matter should be looked at in totality rather than isolating it on a state-by-state basis.
I feel that we have to give a holistic approach to this issue. Taking this matter piecemeal will not help the matter.
In as much as we talk about the issue of illegal mining, I think we should not forget that 27 children, 28 children lost their lives. And as we speak, since the event happened in 2015, then that number is increasing daily.
Being a bill sponsored by all members, there was no room for much contributions, but their resolve, among other resolutions, is to call on the federal government to urgently remediate the environment, treat all cases, promote safer mining programs for all artisanal miners, as well as develop a well-structured plan for the mining sector. Jamila Fegwa, CoreTV News, Abuja.
In other news now, an Abuja High Court is setting June 29 date for a judgment on a suit filed by the former Minister of Aviation, Femi Fani-Kayode, challenging his detention by the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission. Justice Olukayode Adeniyi fixed the date after hearing the arguments canvassed by the lawyers representing the plaintiff and the anti-graft agency on the merit of the suit. Our judicial correspondent Basil Okafor tells us more.
The former Minister of Aviation, Femi Fani-Kayode, is being detained by the EFCC for allegedly receiving 840 million naira from the People's Democratic Party's campaign funds. But Fani-Kayode's lawyer is arguing that the detention of his client without arraignment violates his fundamental human rights. He therefore asked the court to make an order for the release of the former minister and another order restraining EFCC from further detaining or arresting him.
We brought an application for the enforcement of Chief Fani-Kayode's fundamental rights as provided by the Constitution. It was argued robustly by both sides and judgment reserved. The court should declare his continued detention as unlawful and unconstitutional.
EFCC counsel Salisu Magaji is, however, opposing the application on the grounds that the former minister was detained on the order of Lagos State Magistrate Court sitting in Ikeja. He asked the court to dismiss the application for lack of merit, but an attempt made by CoreTV News for the defense counsel to speak on the matter was not successful, as he kept on saying that he will not speak. The presiding judge, Justice Olukayode Adeniyi, has adjourned the case till June 29 for adjournment after both counsels concluded their agreement on the matter. Basil Okafor, CoreTV News, Abuja.
The Economic and Financial Crime Commission has also detained a former acting governor of Adamawa State, Umar Fintiri, in connection with the ongoing probe of 1.9 billion naira fraud. The ex-governor is being investigated for allegedly abusing his office and on cases of corruption. After being invited by the EFCC, the anti-corruption watchdog says it became imperative to detain him to enable investigators grill him. Fintiri was invited following a petition to the EFCC by a former member of his cabinet who said it could not keep quiet on what transpired under the Fintiri's governorship tenure in Adamawa State. The absence of Justice Aliya Ngajiwa of the Federal High Court in Bayelsa State stalled the trial of Yunusa Dahiru, also known as Yellow, the alleged abductor of 14-year-old Ese Oruru. Dahiru is standing trial on 5 counts of criminal abduction, illicit sex, sexual exploitation, and unlawful carnal knowledge of a minor. Ese Oruru was allegedly abducted by Yunusa Dahiru from Bayelsa State in August 2015 and taken to Kano State, where she was converted to a Muslim and married off without the consent of her parents. However, the court did not sit as the trial judge was absent. You're watching CoreTV Primetime News, and we will be right back after this break. Just stay with us.
Every day, every hour, and every minute, news break in Nigeria. Things happen so fast, it's most times difficult to track and comprehend them. But that's what we do right here on Digi360. 2015, would you want to come back again?
It's like asking Jesus Christ if he knew he was going to die, will you want to come back as the savior of the world again?
We do not just help you track the stories, we break them down, explore all the angles, analyze the issues so that you can fully comprehend the stories and use them to make the right decisions.
Welcome back. You're watching CoreTV Primetime News, broadcasting live from our Lagos studio. Our top stories for tonight. can get the stories and more on our social media platforms. It's facebook.com/CoreTV News. You can also follow at our Twitter handle at CoreTV News NG. You can also subscribe to our YouTube channel. It's youtube.com/CoreTV. Leave a space then news. The federal government has ordered the cancellation of the controversial examinations usually organized by universities in Nigeria for admission seekers after the unified tertiary matriculation examinations. The government argues that if there was absolute confidence in the Joint Admissions and Matriculation Board, there should be no need for universities to conduct internal examinations to determine the fate of candidates seeking admission. Minister of Education Adamu gave the order at the National Universities Commission in Abuja while declaring open the 2016 Combined Policy Meeting on admissions to universities, polytechnics and other higher institutions in Nigeria. The meeting, however, agreed that 180 marks be adopted as general minimum cutoff marks for admissions to universities, polytechnics, colleges of education and other diploma awarding institutions. And over 30 people have been confirmed dead in Donga local government area of Taraba State following the various degrees of injuries they sustained from snake bite ravaging the area. 6 villages in Donga local government have been affected with this mysterious snake bite. And moving on now, 2 militants and 6 civilians have also been killed in an attack on soldiers' houseboat around a creek close to Omadino Idijere Junction in Warri South local government area of Delta State. Investigations reveal that the militants struck when some of the soldiers deployed to safeguard oil facilities had gone on a routine patrol. It was gathered that they stormed the location with 2 speedboats and sank the houseboat after the operation. Although no militant group has claimed responsibility for the attack, security sources believe it was carried out by rampaging members of the Niger Delta Avengers. And moving on now, hundreds of students of the College of Arabic and Islamic Legal Studies in Ilorin are protesting in support of their lecturers who are being owed 10 months salary arrears. The students who were supposed to start their examination on Thursday marched around Geruwu Junction near their school at Adewale in Ilorin, carried placards with different inscriptions. They are calling on the state government to immediately settle the salary of their lecturers. And in Kaduna State, staff of the Kaduna Electricity Distribution Company, Kaderco Sabon Tasha Service Center, today protested over a legal arrest order of their staff by the Deputy Speaker of the Kaduna State House of Assembly, Honorable John Audu, over disconnection of electricity supply of his house for non-payment of electricity bill. Our correspondent tells us more about the story.
The protest started with a march to the lawmaker's house in Makuta village of Chikun local government area, with protesters holding various placards, singing solidarity songs. Addressing journalists during the protest, the Assistant Secretary General of the National Union of Electricity Employees said the staff were on official duty when they discovered that the house is to be disconnected due to non-payment of electricity bill by the legislature. He said after disconnecting the house, few hours later, police stormed their office and picked 2 of their staff to Sabon Tasha police station and were detained for hours.
For over 4 hours, they were in the police station at Sabo, answering questions, being stripped of everything they have, and were to be pushed into cells where we have criminals.
Comrade Ahmedu also called on all Nigerians to treat and respect electricity workers as other workers.
So we are saying that Nigeria belongs to all of us, and we must be allowed to do our job legally and constitutionally.
All efforts to reach the Deputy Speaker of the Kaduna State House of Assembly to respond on the matter proved abortive.
And in Oyo State, scores of residents in Ibadan wept uncontrollable following a heavy downpour that sacked them from their homes. Areas mostly affected were the last cities in Ido local government area. Community leaders were seen at Lade area of Omiadio making distress calls to contact officials of the Nigerian Railway Corporation to halt all movement of trains to the area to avert another tragedy that may arise from train accident. Among the areas that were affected are Odo Ono, Biokuba, Nihot, Okeayo, and some parts of Akwata, but the worst hit was Omiadio, where many residents were rendered homeless by the flood. The Public Relations Officer, University College Hospital UCH Deji Bobade, says the hospital has been placed on alert, but that they had not received any flood-related cases. And a strong plea has gone out to the Ogun State government by the traders at Arepo Junction along Ibadan Expressway about the 24 hours ultimatum given by the state government to the traders on the demolition of illegal structures along this axis. Our correspondent Emmanuel Ajayi, who visited the area, tells us more in this report.
I'm not going to leave this place.
Pain and agony. These are the feelings of the traders at Arepo Junction along Ibadan Expressway, pleading with the state government to avert the proposed demolition.
I was washing plates yesterday. They now came and give us letter that we should leave this place. Where did Amosu want us to pack our things to? Who is going to feed us? My children, my children is paying almost 80-something thousand naira. For where Amosu want me to get this money from?
And it's just consider us, where do they want us to go? Or they should go to big shop at affordable price. Let us rent the shop. It costs 24 hours to come up for this place. It's unfair. It's unfair. This time around, they're not supposed to come this other time now. They didn't give us quick notice. They didn't even notice us before, just on this urgent 24 hours.
These market leaders say the construction of shops over the time is illegal as the land belongs to the state government. He calls on the government to extend the 24 hours ultimatum.
Can you help us beg our governor to plead with these people, to give them some time, so that before the day that they give them, people will arrange for another place to set their market. As at now, people are sending their children to the school, both in primary school, secondary school, higher station.
It is hoped that the state government will provide another suitable alternative to those traders to serve as palliative measures. Emmanuel Ajayi, CoreTV News, Arepo.
And still in Ogun State, where the government is embarking on a mass demolition of illegal structures along Lagos-Ibadan Expressway. Spokesperson for the state government confirms that the exercise will stretch from Bega End, a border community with Lagos State, to the Shagamu interchange. Akionbakeye tells us more.
Sights and sounds of pulling and breaking down of illegal structures at the Lagos-Ibadan Expressway, proximate to Bega bus stop. The Ogun State government says all is set to rid the Lagos-Ibadan Expressway of shanties. Settlers, however, say government has failed to serve them any evacuation notice.
They should have given people notice, and they should not demolish that water, because that is the only way. We don't have any impact of government for this community. You don't have any impact of government in the community. They say this is it for local government.
I don't even know. Maybe some people going to Ogun State government to come and demolish here. But what we are fighting for is what we have to eat, because thousands of people, millions of people are benefit from here.
As a Nigerian citizen, we don't even supposed to be here if we have a good government, because this is roadside of express. Everybody knows, but there is nowhere for us to be working. Did our government create any space for us?
Representatives of the government, however, debunks the accusation, noting that the structures have been marked for demolition for some time now.
Tomorrow Monday. Okay. What are so that you see the machine working. So it's not as if you came to bring down your camera.
CoreTV News reports that the exercise continues as government vows to improve on the environment. Akionbakeye, CoreTV News, Bega.
And the challenge of housing Africa's urban low-income earners is one that will be overcome by Nigeria and every African country by aligning with the African Union 2063 agenda. Housing constitutes the first major investment and life ambition of people all over the continent, and the government should give adequate attention to it. This alignment, according to President Muhammadu Buhari, is needed to ensure that Nigeria achieves the target of 1 million housing units per annum to bridge the housing gap. Our correspondent, Kozim Kasali, has more on this report on the 35th annual Shelter Afrique meeting in Abuja.
Muhammadu Buhari, represented by the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Mohammed Bello, expresses delight at the coming of the annual Shelter Afrique Symposium at what it describes as a critical juncture. It discloses that though Nigeria has an housing deficit that can be bridged by the provision of 1 million housing units per annum, disclosing that this is something the federal government is working hard on. He, however, challenges all African countries and governments to invest in the development of the housing sector because of its life-changing impact on the people.
Nigeria, with a population of about 170 million and an annual population growth rate of 3.5%, requires a minimum of an additional 1 million housing units per annum to reduce the much acclaimed national deficit of our 17 million housing units.
Power Works and Housing Minister Babatunde Fashola described the challenges of housing Africa's urban low-income earners as one that will be addressed head-on by government at all levels. According to the minister, a lot needs to change for this lofty dream to be a reality.
This is not the road to sustainability, and it is not the road to housing Africa's low-income urban population. We can't have start and stops. We can't have failed projects if we must address this problem.
For his part, Managing Director of Shelter Afrique, James Mugawa, discloses that as the organization continues in its quest to deliver on the mandate of affordable housing to the people of the African continent, new measures are being put in place to ensure that it becomes a reality.
We cannot rest on our heirs, however, and we certainly cannot allow Shelter Afrique to rest on its oars either. The challenge confronting us with regards to housing our people on the continent is clear to all and every sovereign shareholder.
Shelter Afrique, which is in its 35th year, is an annual event put together as part of efforts aimed at delivering affordable houses to people on the African continent through a variety of measures, and is encapsulated in Division 2063 of the African Union. Kozim Kasali, CoreTV News, Abuja.
According to the National Emergency Management Agency, women are largely marginalized in the development of disaster risk management policies. In decision-making processes, their voice are hardly heard. The National Emergency Management Agency hoping to change all that by leveraging on the expertise as shared experience of stakeholders and decision-makers to build a gender-sensitive, resilient community. Aniete Patrick reports that the agency believes this conference will bring to the fore a robust gender perspective in disaster risk management in Nigeria.
Director General of the National Emergency Management Agency says out of the over 2 million internally displaced persons in Nigeria, 53% are female, while 54% are children, and their role to building disaster resilience has often and adequately not been recognized.
They have endured unprecedented level of sexual violence and assault, along with related involuntary pregnancy and health complications as a result of abuses and insecurity in times of conflict. Women make up more than half of the population affected by emergency in Nigeria.
Chief Solicitor for Nigeria says steps should be taken to identify this vulnerable segment of the population, while women leadership should be considered as they are relevant in social information about their communities.
We have a census of these people. What steps have we taken to ensure that this vulnerable segment of our populace is encouraged or assisted?
A gender, age, disability, and cultural perspective should be integrated in all policies and practices, and women leadership should be promoted.
Nigeria at this point assured that gender sensitivity is of necessity and protecting the vulnerable in the society should be upmost in their minds. Anita Patrick, CoreTV News, Abuja.
And councils of the Niger Basin Authority meeting in Abuja is deliberating on integrated development and adaptation of climate change. The meeting is aimed at contributing to the strengthening of resilience to climate change for more than 30 million people living in the Niger Basin. Our correspondent Kikelo Mokeri tells us more.
Overall objective of the meeting is to contribute to improving the resilience of ecosystem of Niger River and the population through sustainable management of natural resources, noting the commitment of the development partners to support the implementation of the investment program and the 2016 to 2024 operational plan, which include NBA's climate change resilience investment plan.
Is trying to have all partners on board, and we hope that from the announcement that will be made today, we will fill the gap. The African Development Bank is already committed to put a lot of resources in this PDAC project.
Members are agreeing to adopt the budget allocation in the 2016 budget for the Niger Basin Authority to the tune of 167,015,704. It's also adopting the new sharing formula for members' countries contributing to the operating budget of the Executive Secretary of the Niger Basin Authority from the 2017 fiscal year.
Member countries have also pledged that they are going to pay 10% of all the projects that are being put into the 9 different countries of the Niger Basin Authority.
The need to equip the Niger Basin Executive Secretary with human and financial means in line with the scope of its responsibility was also highlighted. Kikelomo Ukeri, CoreTV News, Abuja.
We'll bring you the stories from outside Nigeria and in sports after this break. To stay with us.
CoreTV News now live on all Androids.
Welcome to CoreTV Primetime News.
Download CoreTV News app from your Play Store. Click on the menu to see all our top stories from politics, sports, business, foreign news and live TV to watch us live on your mobile.
I want to know why I should be believing them.
You can also click on video to see all our YouTube videos. CoreTV News, a 24-hour news station.
And on the foreign scene, the Syrian Democratic Forces has closed in on ISIL supply route in Syria's Manbij. Kurdish-led forces have launched an offensive to capture the Syrian town of Manbij, a suspected supply route for the Islamic State of Iraq and the Levant group to smuggle weapons in from Turkey. In the past 24 hours, 18 coalition airstrikes are reported to have targeted positions held by ISIL, also known as ISIS. And French Transport Minister Alain Vidalis has debunked threats of French air traffic disruption this weekend and claims it has been lifted. 4 of 5 unions have called off air traffic control action, with Transport Minister assuring there will be no disruption. Trade unions are protesting against work time changes, but the strike comes amid general labor unrest. The unrest and travel disruption is of particular concern given that France is hosting the Euro 2016 football championship, which begins later this month. The strike action has been on since Tuesday evening. And there are fears that more heavy downpours forecast across the swathe of Europe may worsen floods that have already left 5 people dead. 4 people drowned in southern Germany, with 2 more missing and thousands of homes without electricity. In France, thousands have been evacuated and thousands of emergency callouts have also been made. Heavy showers are forecast right through the weekend across a band of Central Europe from France to Ukraine, with as much as 50 millimeters of rain falling in some parts of just a few hours, and nearly 10,000 homes are without electricity. And in India, a court has found 24 people guilty of involvement in one of the most notorious massacres during the 2002 anti-Muslim riots in Gujarat. The special court acquitted 36 others in the so-called Garbage Society killings in Ahmedabad city. The riots were some of the worst since Indian independence. More than 1,000 people, mostly Muslims, died after a train fire killed 60 Hindus pilgrims. Sentencing is scheduled for Monday, June 6, 2016. And in sports,
our style, and that's what he delivered.
Into the crisis that has been rocking the Nigeria Football Federation seem to be in sight as members of the House of Representatives is attempting to find ways of resolving the feud. This follows an invitation of the warring factions in the crisis to the House to find ways of resolving the crisis that has been on since inauguration of the Amaju Pinnick-led body. Our National Assembly correspondent Emmanuel Eijene files in this report of the proceedings of the sitting.
It is no longer news that the NFF has been in crisis since the emergence of the Amaju Pinnick-led board of the Nigerian Football Federation. Chris Giwa, also a member of the NFF, has continually laid claims to the presidency of the Federation, claiming that he was duly elected president of the body in an election that was conducted sometime in 2014. The crisis came to a climax after a ruling by a high court in Jos, Plateau State, sacking the Amaju Pinnick-led NFF for being illegally elected and declaring Chris Giwa the authentic and duly elected president of the Federation. Rising from a closed-door meeting between the two faction presidents and members of the Committee on Sports, the committee resolved that after the discussions, the end of the crisis may be in sight.
We have resolved that there is no way we can conclude today, but we have made far-reaching movements, and we are optimistic that at the rate we are moving, in the next 1 week, the crisis will be fully and completely resolved.
Both chairmen also have been speaking to media men on the expectations of the closed-door deliberations, but were silent on the details, but they were also expectant on the positive resolution to the crisis.
I don't need to tell you that I'm satisfied or not, because what the House is doing now is they're in the process of trying to get solution to the crisis in Nigerian football. So their decision is something that is not known to me, and I'm sure it's not known to you.
Which of course is a major oversight function of the House, and since you call it closed door, so we should allow it to be closed door, pending when we have the final meeting on Tuesday next week. But I believe it's geared towards enhancing the, growth.
In all, it is the expectation of everyone that this initiative by the House will save the game and will yield positive results. It is this unhealthy situation and the need to bring sanity to the Federation that necessitated the hearing by the House Committee on Sport to call together the two contending factions to see how these issues could be resolved amicably for the good of the game. The committee is also adjourning till 10th of June for the continuation of the hearing, promising that there definitely will be an end to the crisis.
And Brazil's veteran striker Kaká has withdrawn from the Copa America squad due to a hamstring injury 3 days to the team's tournament opener against Ecuador. The injury ends Kaká's hope of participating in the Copa America for the first time. The former FIFA World Player of the Year will be replaced by Sao Paulo's Paulo Henrique Ganso. Kaká's withdrawal brings to 5 the number of Brazilian players who have withdrawn from the squad through injury. And that's a wrap on CoreTV Sports News and on CoreTV Primetime News. But before we go, a recap of our top stories for tonight. And from all of us here at CoreTV News in Lagos, we want to say thank you so much for watching. My name is Sarah Yuku. Have a pleasant rest.